Hi, everybody. We have a huge need that's unfolding in South Africa at the moment. A lot of people, because of the economic downturn linked with the COVID-19 pandemic in South Africa, a lot of people are starting to go hungry. A lot of people were living on the edge beforehand and have just obviously been pushed over it by the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic downturn that we're experiencing now. We are supporting an organization by the name of MercyAids. They have made it their mission now to distribute as many food parcels and food vouchers to people to vulnerable people in the areas within the Western Cape that need it most. And I want to encourage you to get involved. If you want to find out how to donate, you can go to the MercyAids Facebook page, which I'll put a link in the description, and get involved. I've got an interview that I did with Kay earlier this evening, who is the lead facilitator of MercyAids on this project. And you will just see what we are all and what they are trying to achieve through this. I want to encourage you to watch it. I want to encourage you to get involved in whatever way you can. And we really are thankful to everyone who gets involved and who will get involved. So over to Kay. All right, I am with Kay Lawrence of MercyAids, and what we want to just do right now is tell you a little bit about the need and the work that's going on in the affected areas off the back of COVID-19 and really the economic lockdown in South Africa. So firstly, hi Kay.
Hi, thanks Tim for inviting me into this.
Yeah, good. So I think firstly, just give us a sense of what's happening actually on the ground at the moment. What is the need that's unfolding in the areas that you work in, which is mainly for Santa Cruz and Dunoon, which are informal settlements in the Western Cape, fairly near to where we live. What's going on there?
So we found, a few weeks ago when the government shut down, the stress was still around COVID-19 and people getting sick and how quickly the disease would spread, and that we thought that the government took swift action to get people to stay at home. And effectively what happened for a lot of people was that they lost their income because they were living hand to mouth. And so we found that poverty was exacerbated. So we know already in South Africa before that there was a lot of poverty. And then COVID-19 now has just meant that people aren't able to work. So a lot of people aren't able to earn money. And we've seen probably last week, it's probably started just even 2 weeks ago, when it was becoming very clear that hunger was becoming the bigger issue to our informal settlements than the COVID-19. And then just a cry out from our community workers, our faith-based organizations, our NGOs, that they needed extra support around food.
Okay, and just tell us a little bit about this week, the kind of initial response, or last week really, and the initial response, what you guys have been doing, who you've been working with, kind of how you've been reaching those vulnerable people in the last couple of days.
So last week, what we started with, because we didn't have a budget in our organization for this, what we started doing was aligning with other organizations who were already doing food, and then giving our time or sharing their posts, or just trying to give people bigger awareness around the hunger that was going on. And so last week we found that in the responses in the areas, what was happening was a lot of the feeding schemes that happen come from the outside in, and then they quite quickly align with the leaders in the community, so like ward councillors, politicians, and a lot of lists that are given out are often touching the same people, and everybody is getting the same list. And so what happened is that many vulnerable people do not make it on lists. If they're not, if they haven't been, these lists are, the list is a big thing in South Africa at the moment. Like what list, who's got the list, who put names on the list. So what we found last week already was that as we aligned with our organization, so MercyAids, we've worked with many organizations over the years, and so as we touched base with them last week, like asking them how things are going for them, how is the hunger, do they have a hunger crisis in their organization, what is going on in their community, every single one of them reported back to us that food had become a big issue. So then last week we tried to align those organizations with feeding schemes that we knew were already happening. And in that process discovered that the need is overwhelming. So in an area like for Santa Cruz, there's such demand for food. In Dunoon, there's such demand for food that you can't expect one or two organizations to carry it. It needs a multi-sectoral intervention and many organizations to respond right now. And so by Friday last week, by Thursday, it had become very clear that for us to be able to meet the need of the organizations we know, the organizations we've worked with over the years, the children through camp work that are coming to our organization now and saying are hungry, the only way to start meeting that need is to give a personal response. And so we made the decision on Friday last week that we would start putting out a plan to start to reaching the hunger needs of the organizations we know of and work with. And that's how we got personally involved as MercyAids. And then the response was overwhelming. So when people found out that we wanted to respond to food crisis, then that's when the requests started coming in a big way. And and it was an amazing weekend because we had the first, on Friday already, the first people who responded said they would give us 100 parcels. That was on Friday. And that was already exciting. So we were really looking forward to Monday to be able to hand those out. But we knew 100 parcels were going to go very, very quickly. And so by the weekend then with you and Jana coming in and helping us like even respond to more need, which was very exciting because the need is great. So then being able to now expand to a bigger area, so not just stopping at 100 was where we were going to prepare to, like on Sunday we're going to stop at 100, right? Because we have 100 parcels, we can do that. Today what was amazing with our team in Santa Cruz and Dunoon, and I mean we're already dreaming beyond at this point, but being able to say like we can do this, we can find the vulnerable in the community and we can get them food. And the celebration on the ground. I wish today that anybody who had given any money could have been there when we announced that to the care workers in Dunoon and in Santa Cruz today, when we said, go find the most needy and bring their names back, and we will see what we can do to make sure they get food. And there was just a real, it was so exciting just to see how happy they are. They're so desperate. They're so desperate. That it was like you were giving a lifeline to these community workers who love their people. That's what's so amazing as well, aligning with people in communities who love their communities more than we do. That is incredible because they find the most needy. Yeah.
So I think it's important to note here, right? We're going on a drive for donations now, right? So we're going to, I'm going to share this video around. I wanted people in our networks to see who you are and kind of see the work that you're doing. The people that we're dealing with on the ground, there's networks of people that you guys know and have worked with over the years. They give us the sense of who these caregivers are. Obviously not names, but give like who the roles, how have you worked with them in the past, and how closely are you working with them now to try to make sure that we identify the right people and get the food to the right people.
Okay, so yeah, I think we've been working in the NGO field for 20 odd years. So we've got 2 organizations, and over the years, a lot of our intervention has been around the orphan and the vulnerable child. So a holistic approach to those children. So trying to make sure that all of their needs are met around school, food, family, belonging. So because of the work we've done over the last few years, we have built up networks all over the city, which has actually been fascinating now as we walk this thing out, because we worked with organizations. So when we did the training and we did camps, we aligned with organizations that work directly with orphans and vulnerable children, so that once we've done our training and our interventions and camps, those children have a safe place where they're looked after in community after we leave. And so as a result, we have many relationships across the city of people who know and work with, before COVID-19 hit, some of the most vulnerable people. And so when we started sitting, by yesterday, when finances started coming in and trickling in the morning, and then getting bigger and bigger as the day went on, and then the reach becomes bigger, you start realizing actually we can dream a little bit wider and bigger here. That we started seeing that it's almost like we've built this platform over the last few years to be ready to respond to this need. And so because of the kind of people we know and have trained and have worked with over the last 15 years, we know we can find the most vulnerable, if that makes any sense.
And I think what's clear is the roots. What you're doing here is leveraging the roots that you have in those communities and the networks you have in those communities, that we're genuinely trying to find the most vulnerable people. So I think the main challenge at the moment is a lot of money is flowing into the space, but often, particularly via official channels, it's often doesn't make it to the most vulnerable, and that's really what you're specializing in now. Okay, what is our plan this week? Obviously, just ramp up with whatever money we get this week. We're going to target buying food parcels and food vouchers, right? Those are the two things.
Yeah. And in Kroll buying, so in Santa Kroll, buying supplies for 3 soup kitchens, which just give a reach to a child who's hungry, because social lockdown is not really happening in community. We were absolutely shocked today when we drove into Dunoon and into Santa Kroll to see how there's no social distancing. People are still all over the place. They're hungry. They're out on the street. So to have point places where you can also give soup, if a child knows they could go there if they're hungry. So we've got, so the plan is just to keep those 4 soup kitchens going at the same time as the food parcels as we roll out.
Okay. All right. So I want to encourage anyone watching this. We're going to give the details at the end of this video. Donate directly to MercyAids. If you've got any other support that you can provide, please get in touch. You can get in touch with me or directly with MercyAids, or put the page on the at the end of the video and in the link and in the comments. Really, the need that we have at the moment is, I think, the most acute that this country has experienced for a very long time. And I know obviously there's a huge need around the world as well, but we really have it right here on our doorstep, and we're mobilizing to solve it. But it really is going to take a huge effort, and anybody who can contribute anything, please do so, in whatever form that may be. We are working together to build a little bit more capacity that we can actually deliver to a broader range of, at a larger scale, to a larger number of people, and that takes obviously logistics and what have you. And we're thinking through how we can do that in a credible and governable way. But I want to encourage you: donate, get involved, get in touch, go on drives at your workplace if you're still working remotely, to get people who can to donate and to spread the word about this thing. I just want to really encourage you. So, Kay, does that about sum it up? Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and I think anybody watching South African news even today again just saw that there's so much looting and burning stuff now, and just real performance because people are hungry. And I think the sooner we feed the people, it will help us like handle the other challenges, because there's a lot of challenges at the moment. But hunger is a basic need, and when we're in crisis, to meet that need, we can do that as humans.
Awesome. And thanks, Kay, for all the hard work you're doing.
No, you're welcome. Thanks, Tim, for having me, and we'll keep in touch.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.